Premier League stars who are known by their first names on their shirts. Many of football's popular traditions reach back decades, long before Sky rocked up with a big pile of money and the promise of a whole new ball game. But one aspect that has developed under Sky's watch and become a major factor in the viewing experience around the world has been the addition of names on the back of the player's shirt. It was in 1993, for the Premier League's second season, when names first appeared on jerseys, which in effect gave birth to the notion of a squad number and number spiraling north of no 14. In the 1990s, the idea of a player having anything but their last name on the back of their shirt seemed ludicrous, yet the idea has developed to include first names and even nicknames, Kun Aguero, Chicharito etc., as England's top flight has relaxed its standing. Play for the badge on the front and they will remember the name on the back is the old saying, but here are some players who decided to make themselves stand out for their name alone. As a footballer trying to make your name in the game, there can be few things more daunting than having to match up to your father's standing, especially when that paternal figure is the great Johan Cruyff. Naturally, Jordi just wanted to step out of his father's shadow, so while playing for Holland he would just feature his first name on his match shirt. That all changed when he joined Manchester United in 1996, where Premier League rules forced him to have the name Cruyff. But by the time he left in 2000 the name Jordi was seen on his United shirt. One of the first players in the Premier League to wear his first name on the rear of his shirt, which is perhaps a little surprising as you won't find many photos of the former Leeds United and Chelsea striker without the words Hasselbank above his shirt number. The reason is because he only had Jimmy once. It came on his Leeds debut in 1997 when he scored against Arsenal before the Premier League stepped in and wagged an index finger at the Elland Road outfit. Jimmy was never seen again. Shirts should feature the player's last name or such other name as approved in writing by the Premier League board. These can be nicknames adopted from abroad which are more likely to be accepted if featured in other leagues. Personal matters can also be taken into account, such as relationship with parents, or in Ravel Morrison's case a career kickstart. It's fair to say everyone was a winner by the time the Premier League started relaxing their name laws around the mid-2000s. Just as well because Stelios was a much easier name to roll off the tongue during his 5 years at Bolton Wanderers from 2003 compared to his mouthful of a last name. The only loser perhaps was the Trotters Club shop, given the policy of charging for each letter printed on a replica shirt. Interestingly, Giannakopoulos was always used when the midfielder played for the Greek national team. A Newcastle fan favourite throughout his 7 years at St James Park, where he always featured his forename on the back of his shirt. When you are called Gutierrez and hail from Argentina, you perhaps would like some way of branching your football shirt identity from such a common name. Explaining his decision to use Jonas, however, he simply said, "Because I like my name." Can't argue with that. The early part of the 2010s saw an explosion of players reverting to using their first names, and Brian Ruiz was among those when he joined Fulham in 2011. With his father having left his family home when he was a child, the Costa Rica international admitted that the name Ruiz didn't mean a lot, hence his request to use Brian, which he liked a lot more. Uruguay forward Gaston Ramirez was quite happy to go with the name Ramirez above his squad number before reaching England, when he played for Penarol and Bologna. But upon joining Southampton he perhaps saw the opportunity to opt for the Jonas Gutierrez approach. Gaston it was and has been ever since. Despite running around with the name Wilfred on the back of his shirt throughout his career, fans will still remember the striker as Boney. Well, Swansea supporters will at least. Manchester City fans may not remember him at all, while a few neutrals will still be seething at his decision as a striker to pick the No. 2 shirt upon his return to the Liberty Stadium. The name change that really did open the floodgates for everyone else in the Premier League. Morrison made his debut for Manchester United with his last name on his shirt, but after joining West Ham he curiously switched to using Ravel ahead of the 2013-14 season, following a loan spell at Birmingham City. The reason? He wanted a new name to mark a fresh start to his football career. would not have happened in Jimmy's day back in 1997. For much of his early career in South America as well as at Udinese, Sanchez played with his last name on his shirt. It was of such little concern that he even represented Chile with that name on his back at the 2010 World Cup. But that all changed at Barcelona, where he was known as Alexis, and since then he has played with his forename at the Spanish Giants as well as at Arsenal and Manchester United. He has even reverted to using it when representing Chile. There are other examples of players known for their first names just through personal preference, such as Southampton's Cedric Soares and former Stoke City forward Ges Rodriguez. It was quite common to refer to Memphis Depay by his last name during his short and unsuccessful spell at Old Trafford, where inconsistency plagued his 2 years at the club before his 2017 departure. Yet the Dutch winger has always been consistent with his use of Memphis on the reverse of his shirt, claiming he will not use Depay due to his father walking out on him when he was just 4 years old. With just 8 Premier League appearances and none of them starts, even Tottenham fans can be forgiven for not quite remembering this Cameroon winger. So as much as he would like to be known as Clinton, Spurs supporters didn't really get to know him at all, having never convinced Mauricio Pochettino he was much used to the squad during the 2015-16 season. Rather more familiar with Spurs supporters is Delali, although in the same season that Ng was warming the subs bench, the midfielder actually used his surname on the back of his shirt. It was not until the 2016-17 campaign when he reverted to Dill, citing he had no connection to the Ali name. His family background is complex, with his father living in Nigeria for years after splitting from Dill's mother when their son was very young. From the age of 13 he lived in a house run by his adoptive parents, although Dill was never formally adopted. Socrates has largely impressed since joining Arsenal in the summer, and he is already popular with the kid managers at the Emirates Stadium with the choice of name on the back of his shirt. The Greek defender has played the Stelios card and ensured the person responsible for printing the names of the players on the Arsenal shirts can now sleep at night without worrying about spelling or even how to fit that many letters on the back of a shirt.